Welcome to the New Age TV of the Final Enlightenment. Today I've got the following topic for you. First of all, I want to hear what Eckhart Tolle has to say to it.
And you may find that if you do focused thinking and apply it to whatever it is that you need to work out, is not losing the present moment. It's only useless thinking about the present moment that mentally projects you away from the now. Planning is now. There's just, you're not projecting yourself away from the present moment. So it's applied and constructive thinking.
Eckhart Tolle distinguishes planning and organization as constructive thinking from brooding and fears as useless thinking.
The same with the past. Sometimes you need to think about something that happened in the past. You need your memory for certain things, and then you need to you go back there in your mind, and then you talk about, well, but there's a reason why you bring it into the present, because you need that kind of memory or the knowledge. Perhaps you learned something there, but if you, in the middle of the day, you think how dreadful that was, or you're blaming yourself or others about what went wrong, then you lose yourself in the past. Mm-hmm. So you can use past and future without losing yourself in them, and then really you remain present even while you refer back to the past or while you make plans for the future. So that's really how it works.
Eckhart Tolle points out that only brooding and fears let loose the moment, while planning and organizing should be possible with staying in the now. He tries to justify this distinction with the fact that planning and organizing take constructively place in the moment for the future, while brooding and fears as projections move uselessly away from the present into the past or future. In fact, this distinction between planning and organizing on the one hand and projection in the form of brooding and fears on the other is arbitrary, because both equally take place in the present and are directed towards the past or future. Eckhart Tolle only has to make this distinction because he considers his conventional enlightenment to be complete. From his conventional enlightenment, he tries to explain the much more extensive transcendent consciousness of people with his experience of the now. Through the now, one reaches the divine part of consciousness. This divine part of consciousness is experienced as enlightenment. An identification with this part of consciousness gives above all feelings of calm, serenity and peace. In Eckhart Tolle, his divine part of consciousness is not connected with his ego. Moreover, his ego is so unconscious to him that he does not know the inner family of his ego. Otherwise, he would assign brooding and fears to an injured inner woman and planning and organizing to the inner man. Both belong to the earthly part of the consciousness and thus are directed towards the past and the future. The conventional enlightenment is achieved by the inner woman's spiritual direction, which is why I call it female enlightenment. The transcendence of the ego as male enlightenment, Eckhart Tolle doesn't know. Therefore, Eckhart Tolle plans and organizing in the earthly by his inner man without connection to the divine part of his consciousness. This state Eckhart Tolle experiences as stable, so that he concludes that planning and organizing do not endanger the now of enlightenment. Eckhart Tolle has achieved his conventional or female enlightenment by his inner woman. That is why there is a constant danger that the feelings of the inner woman will pull him out of the state of enlightenment. He can only maintain his state of enlightenment by a persistent repression of these feelings, with the consequent remaining in the now. His different reactions to planning and organizing, as well as brooding and fears, Eckhart Tolle tries to explain with the past, present and future. This means that he searches for a non-existent distinction in its earthly nature, while the real cause lays in its relationship to his female enlightenment. The solution is not to avoid brooding and fears by focusing on the now, but to heal the feelings of the inner woman. In addition, the ego is to be developed via the inner man into male enlightenment, and the divine and earthly parts of consciousness are to be connected. To this end, the guilt blockade between the divine and the earthly share of consciousness, known in human history as the fall of man, must be resolved. Enlightenment does not mean leaving the earthly, but with the final enlightenment, respectively New Age enlightenment, the earthly is the love expression of the whole. This is the gradual development process of human consciousness. The conventional enlightenment, the inner woman in injured state with brooding and fears, as well as the inner man with planning and organizing, are different parts of the complete transcendental consciousness. To avoid individual earthly parts of the consciousness by permanent staying in the now is repression. Instead, healing means development.